Welcome to 5-Minute Friday for February 6, 2026. I'm Jeff Arnold, president of 4Spot Consulting, speaker and best-selling author of The Automated Recruiter. This week, two major reports came across my desk, and I really wanted to make sure I talked about them today because they validate everything that we've been saying. First, Josh Bersin put out a report. If you don't know Josh, he's one of the biggest analysts in the HR tech space. And he published a research saying that AI-powered super agents, systems that orchestrate multiple HR workflows end-to-end with minimal interaction, are going to shape how HR teams are staffed and how they operate. He called it, and I'm quoting here, the largest, most interesting HR transformation period at least in my career in HR. And he's been doing this for over 25 years. So fairly significant, but I really agree completely with him. We are in the age of super agents. We just deployed an agent network inside of our company, and we are now able to go through and in natural language ask our AI agent for whatever we're looking for. It could be a report on payroll, it could be information on some sort of metric, and the system automatically connects to all of our different SaaS systems that we work with, our project management system, our Slack, email, all of that, and pulls out everything that we need. So it's actually super incredible, and I totally see where he's going with this. So I believe the super agents are coming, and so I totally agree with that concept. But the idea that AI can coordinate across recruiting, onboarding, payroll, retention in one connected flow, and that's really where things are going. But where it gets really interesting is that in order to really be able to do that and be able to even think about implementing anything like that, is that you absolutely have to have a framework in place to do that. Gartner had their future work trends for 2026 that came out, and that talks about their number 8 on there was that process pros, not tech prodigies, are the ones who are going to unlock AI's value. And so, again, process pros, right? Not the people that come up with the incredible design of what things can do, but the people that actually can put this stuff into actual processes and implement it. Those are the people that are going to be most important as we look to roll these things out, because what happens is organizations are scrambling to hire people with the latest AI skills, but they're missing the point. Because you can have the best AI tool possible, but it does not automatically mean that you're going to get quality output from one another or from the system. And optimizing individual use of AI productivity tools on its own does not lead to growth or cost reduction. The most successful organizations coming through this year will prioritize finding work process experts, those that can creatively think about their systems and put together and design entire processes, not just optimizing individual tasks. And so one of the other stats that I saw in the whole process is that in Gartner's own research, they said that teams redesigning workflows with AI are twice as likely to exceed revenue goals. Twice. And that's not teams with the best AI tools or with the biggest budgets. It's teams that understand their processes. So if we wanted to put this all together, Bersin is saying that super agents are the future. Again, I think that's a very true thing. I think that super agents are going to be extremely important in the HR space and in any small business space, actually. But the people that are really going to do the work and that are most important to that aspect, according to Gartner, are the ones not with the fanciest tech skills, but the ones who understand how workflows work, how they flow, and then also being able to craft the right process to be able to deploy those AI agents most effectively. And here's one thing that I think neither of those two agencies, Bersin or in Gartner, are saying loud enough, is that most companies aren't ready for this because the foundation isn't there. Something I talked about, a couple weeks ago, and it's just you're kind of building on sand, right? These companies are throwing AI buildings on top of a sand base, and they're just collapsing because they're not really having a solid foundation for what they do. And so, Gartner also had mentioned that only 1 in 50 AI investments delivered transformational value. I mean, that's 2%. 1 in 50, only 2% of the initiatives that are being launched are working. And the main reason is that those initiatives are, buildings being built on sand, right? There's no framework there. So you can't orchestrate what you haven't defined. And so people are just throwing AI at things as opposed to really building out a true process. So, one of the phrases I like is you can't automate chaos. So if you don't know what's going on in your business and you don't have it mapped out, then trying to throw AI into the middle of it is just going to make it, a bigger disaster, right? It's like pouring gas on the dumpster fire. It's just a bigger dumpster fire. And we know that 3/4 of the HR professionals that are out there right now are overwhelmed, but they're not overwhelmed by the philosophies and we're having to do the actual brain work that they really want to do. They're overwhelmed with administrative workload. They're just being bombarded with tons of paperwork and copy paste, and they're not really being able, they're not being able to do the people work. They're stuck doing paperwork. And they're spending 25 to 30% of their time doing that. So the key is that of that 25 to 30% of the time, that could all be automated, right? People that are, chasing data entry or chasing follow-ups or, trying to get documents from people or copying, pasting from different systems, that's all stuff that can be 100% automated. So when you think about the costs that are involved in something like this, if you have somebody that's making, $75,000 a year, for example, and they're, a high-level HR person working on doing recruiting or whatever they're doing in HR, if they're wasting 25 to 30% of their day doing that mundane stuff, you're not only going to have an issue with them being, wasting their time, right? But you're really going to have an issue with them being bored. They got into the business to be working on people stuff, not necessarily paper stuff. And so working on automating does a lot for your organization. It not only is going to, help you reduce costs because now your people can be more efficient, but you're also going to get people that are now renewed in their job. They're really excited about being able to be in the human resources department again. So right now, the one thing I wanted to go over again is the rise of the super agents is on its way. It's not going to happen overnight, but you really need to plan what you're going to be doing. So you can't just run out there and go, we're going to deploy AI, go, right? You need to have a plan in place. You need to map out the things that you want to automate. You need to figure out what you can automate, what you can't automate, what you should automate, what you shouldn't automate. And be able to go forward and be able to have a plan in place. So anyway, that's kind of what we do with our Ops Mesh program, right? We have this Ops, we call it Ops Mesh, and it's going to be basically, we have an audit process at the beginning called Ops Map, where we map everything out, we audit everything. We go into Ops Build, which is where we actually do the build out of your automations for you. And then we have Ops Care if you need that afterwards, where we can just make some minor adjustments for you and stay on board to make sure everything's working correctly. So, but if you're interested in that, please reach out. Let me know. I'd love to have a conversation with you. If it's not something you want to have a conversation about yet, I'm going to post a link down below. You can actually go. I launched, I don't have a copy in front of me, but I have a 74-page workbook that will walk you through how you can work on getting to your first quick win with automation and being able to do that. And then it's also a year-long planner. So you can go through the entire year, go through the whole planning process, and be able to figure out where you can start to deploy automation inside your company. So anyway, that's it for 5 Minute Friday. Super agents are on their way. They're going to be down the road. They're not going to happen overnight. I recommend taking baby steps, right? Get one quick win automation and then move on from there and continue. That's how most of my best clients have worked with us. They get a quick win. They go, wow, this is awesome. Now what can we do? And they start to progressively work on building more and more into their automation plans. So anyway, that's 5 Minute Friday for February 6th. Hope you guys have a great weekend. and enjoy the Super Bowl.